What is going on, guys? What is going on, 27 squad? Welcome back into another video, back with some more New York Giants content. The New York Giants are in their second year of their rebuild, and they're already starting to build depth in certain positions, making them stronger throughout the season. I'm going to be here to talk about the strongest positions that the New York Giants have, and that's going to have the biggest impact in 2020. So before I start, make sure you guys hit that like button for me. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. We've got a big influx of subscribers in the past month, so welcome everybody. Also, if you guys are interested, make sure you guys join that membership if you guys are interested. And make sure you guys follow FTFN on twitch.com. Make sure you guys click on that link and create a Twitch account and go ahead and follow that. There's going to be some big things going on that account with a bunch of other huge content creators and people way bigger than I am. We're gonna be together and creating content together for you guys. So make sure you guys go into the description right now and follow FTFN on Twitch. So I have 4 positions on the roster that I honestly think the Giants are going to excel at in the 2020 NFL season. Now, we're going to skip over running back. We're going to skip over quarterback because I think people are a little tired of us talking about Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley in every single video. So I'm not going to talk about those guys. We're going to focus on in-depth, more positions, the less sexy positions, but positions that are going to be an impact nonetheless. Now, quarterback and running back are honorable mentions in my opinion, because quarterback, it's not fair just to say, the strongest position, one of them is quarterback because of Daniel Jones. That's not fair to say, because I'm really judging everybody by a group, and obviously there can only be one quarterback on the field at a time. Saquon Barkley in the running back position as well. I'm not too confident in the depth of the running back position. I'm more confident in Saquon Barkley, so that doesn't really count for this video, but I'll just add it as honorable mentions. Another honorable mention is the offensive line. I think they're 1 year away from being extremely strong. I think they'll make a big jump this year, but not exactly the strongest position. So let's get on to the first position. First one, the wide receivers. Now, we have a lot of depth on the wide receiving core, but if you look at it on paper, you may think, well, this wide receiving core sucks. I mean, you just got a couple of handful of starters. It's pretty top heavy, but it really doesn't have any depth in it. But you got to listen to the names that the Giants signed in undrafted free agency. You look at Benjamin Victor and you look at Austin Mack, 2 guys that were signed from Ohio State and really was very productive at Ohio State. And Austin Mack is more that receiving. It really reminds me of Victor Cruz. Just caught absolutely everything, makes acrobatic catches in traffic. Really reminds me of a young Victor Cruz. And then you look at Benjamin Victor, who is a taller receiver, skinnier, and a very good deep threat. I think he's standing at about 6'3", 6'4". He's a phenomenal prospect to get in the undrafted free agency. You look at Derek Dillon as well, very speedy guy. These guys can make the roster. Not to mention, you got Amba Edetawo, who's made some appearances with the New York Giants in the past. We have Sterling Shepard, Golden Tate, and Darius Slayton. These guys I think are going to be great. Now, Golden Tate in his career has been consistently healthy, so I'm not too worried about that besides his older age. Darius Slayton continues to improve ever since he was drafted in the 5th round last year. This guy has improved on his route running, his catching ability, just his ability to get open in zone and not just be a one-trick pony and go deep and look for the ball. This guy has completely shaped up his game on another level. Darius Slayton is honestly a potential 1,000-yard guy and over 10 touchdowns type of receiver. Sterling Shepard, if he's healthy, is a 1,000-yard type of receiver. I think this wide receiving core is going to be extremely productive, even if by some stretch of the imagination, what if Sterling Shepard gets another concussion? It can't happen. What if Golden Tate and his old age, Father Time catches up and he goes down? Darius Slayton moves up to that number 1, and you have some depth there. Corey Coleman, Benjamin Victor, Austin Mack. I honestly think these guys can produce as young rookies, as guys who haven't been taken a chance on. Corey Coleman, if he doesn't get hurt, I think he's a very good option at wide receiver for depth. So I honestly think if, just like last year, the wide receiving core will be okay. We had a bunch of guys not being able to play, a bunch of pass catchers not being able to play last year, and we still produced because of the depth we have at wide receiver. It's no different this year. Next up, we have the cornerbacks, and this is something I really want to get into as well. The cornerbacks, nobody's really talking about this, but how much depth we have at corner. We're going to wind up cutting guys that can potentially make this team, that can actually produce, not just special teamers, guys that can actually produce with the right coaching and if they reach their potential. Let's start off from the front end. We have James Bradberry. James Bradberry is coming in, the third highest paid cornerback in the NFL right now. We paid some big money for James Bradberry. He's typically a zone corner is what they played in Carolina, but I think he could play man as well. And he's shut down receivers. He's played against NFC South receivers. You're talking about Michael Thomas, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, a bunch of these NFC South receivers he has played against, and he has pretty much held his own. Then you look at games like Houston last year where he played against DeAndre Hopkins and completely shut down DeAndre Hopkins the whole game. I think James Bradberry is going to be even more successful under this new system with Patrick Graham. They blitz a lot. They play a lot of fluid type of looks, which means they play a lot of zone. They play a lot of the one-on-one with the cornerback. So I think man coverage will be good for him, and I also think that's going to be good for DeAndre Baker, who's a press man corner, something that they did not play last year, which is one of the reasons why he was not very successful. DeAndre Baker is going to be even better next year than last year. Yes, he's had a terrible rookie season. I've said it in the past. Eli Apple has had a better rookie season than DeAndre Baker has. But I think DeAndre Baker's sophomore season, even with all the drama going on with DeAndre Baker getting arrested and having this whole controversy going on with robbing people, I still think he's going to come back and have an extremely good season under a new scheme. You look at the slot corner position, Darnay Holmes, who we drafted in this year's draft in the 4th round out of UCLA. He is getting high praise from absolutely everywhere. Even the best corner in the game, Deion Sanders. Not only that, Bucky Brooks rated him as the best slot corner in this year's draft. This guy hasn't even played in the slot corner position. He's mostly played in the outside, but his potential for the slot is absolutely insane. What he did in the combine was perfect. It was like he knew exactly what was coming at him. It's like he made those drills himself. I honestly think Darnay Holmes is going to be an absolute beast right out the gate. Then you have some really good depth. You've got Grant Haley. You've got who won the slot corner position last year. He was our slot corner. And say what you want about Grant Haley, he was not terrible. And I'll tell you right now, Grant Haley as a dime cornerback would be a-okay with me. The former slot corner now moving on to dime corner because Darnay Holmes won that position as nickel. I'm okay with that as well. On top of that, Julian Love is there. Everybody's forgetting about Julian Love. This is a new scheme and a new system. Who knows? Maybe this scheme, James Betcher maybe didn't know what he was talking about, didn't want to put Julian Love at safety. Maybe Patrick Graham wants to use Julian Love exactly what he's meant for, at cornerback. Now, Julian Love played outside corner at Notre Dame in college, but he is more suited for the slot corner role. He struggled in a couple preseason games playing in the slot, but I'm sure they'll give him another chance at that. So that's even more depth there. And we're not even talking about Corey Ballentine. Corey Ballentine, just a year ago, being one of our last draft picks, came out the gate and was playing in the preseason and playing in training camp with the first team. He was playing with the first team at outside corner at some points. Even had an interception in preseason. This guy has potential, and in my opinion, if he's our last option at cornerback, I'm okay with it. I'm completely alright with it. That if one of our guys get hurt and he has to step up, I'm completely fine with Corey Ballentine stepping up and playing for the New York Giants. Next up, we have the safeties. Xavier McKinney and Jabril Peppers are most likely going to be one of the best safety duos in the NFL. I really love what they bring to the table. It reminds me, I'm not going to say they are, but Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas. You look at these guys, Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas. Cam Chancellor was able to play in the box almost all the time and was just a huge presence, hard-hitting presence in the box. That's like Jabril Peppers' role. Xavier McKinney is a lot like Earl Thomas in the fact that Earl Thomas is a hard hitter, but also can cover deep. Now, Xavier McKinney cannot cover deep as well as maybe an Earl Thomas can, but the versatile type of play, the body build is very similar. I think Xavier McKinney can be that type of player, and in that duo with Jabril Peppers, I think they can kind of sort of replicate even half of what Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas replicated. Jabril Peppers is coming off his statistically best season he's had in his career. He only played in 11 games and already had more tackles than any other year he's been in the NFL. Now coming into his 4th year in the NFL, hopefully healthy, he can probably reach that 100 tackle mark and maybe a couple of sacks, and maybe he will be our Landon Collins with a lot more awareness. All right, my last position, and I think this is going to be the strongest position that the New York Giants have, so I'm going to be going in depth on this because I'm really excited about this position, and it's not a sexy one. It's the interior defensive line. This interior defensive line, I think, can be a top 5 defensive line in the NFL. Top 5 3-4 defensive lines in the NFL, excluding the outside linebackers. Just the defensive line in the 3-4. Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, and Dalvin Tomlinson, with the depth of Chris Slayton, Austin Johnson, BJ Hill, and RJ McIntosh. I mean, I'm extremely excited for this, and let's go in depth. Dalvin Tomlinson is the highest graded player according to PFF. You guys know I don't like PFF a lot, but you got to take their word for it on this one. Dalvin Tomlinson is the highest graded player from the New York Giants according to PFF with a 78.1 grade. On top of that, he came in with one of the best run stuffing grades in the NFL as well. And he could also get a pass rush going, as he had 3.5 sacks last year. Right behind Dalvin Tomlinson is 2nd-year defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence had 2.5 sacks last year, and at one point in the season, he was rated as the best rookie, one of the best rookies in the NFL. He came in at 9th according to PFF. As far as the PFF grading goes, he came in at a 76.1 as opposed to Dalvin Tomlinson's 78.1. So he was just 2 points away from being the highest graded New York Giant last year as a rookie. Dexter Lawrence was batting away balls, run stuffing, getting to the quarterback, forcing pressure. He was doing everything last year, and I expect him to be even better next year. Now, say what you want about Leonard Williams. I've had my own takes about Leonard Williams in the past. He's only had 0.5 sacks last year, didn't even have a whole sack, forced a lot of pressure. He was a so close but no cigar type player, and I tell you right now, this year, I know he's going to step it up. Being a franchise tag player, yes, he's getting paid $16 million this year. He, got the bag, but he needs to prove something next year to either get paid by the Giants or another team. He has to work for a long-term contract, and I think he's going to work his butt off to do just that and get back to that big cat that he used to be. Big Leo from USC, former 6th overall pick out of USC to the New York Jets. I think he's going to improve. I think he's going to be a lot better and force a lot of pressure. Listen, the Giants saw a big difference in the amount of pressure that they forced last year with Leonard Williams there. It's just that the sack numbers didn't rise anymore because they only acquired a half sack. We also have tons of depth. We cannot forget about BJ Hill, who not too long ago, just last year, he broke the New York Giants rookie sack number at 5.5 sacks. So we have to remember that as well. He's coming in as a backup 3-4 defensive end. This guy is a great rotational player, along with Austin Johnson, who can rotate out of the nose tackle position or even the 3-4 defensive end position that Dexter Lawrence is playing if the Giants want to go bigger for stopping the run. Also, we have Chris Slayton out of Syracuse that everybody forgets about. Everybody's talking about Darius Slayton, but doesn't want to talk about Chris Slayton because he didn't really make the team. But if you watch this guy on film, he's actually a pretty good defensive tackle, so he's there for the rotation. And also RJ McIntosh, one of the few guys who's done something on Quentin Nelson back in college. This guy was drafted in the 5th round, and Quentin Nelson, who's probably the best guard in the NFL, he's went toe-to-toe with Quentin Nelson and handled his own. So this guy is another prospect that can be in a rotational type of rotational play at the defensive line. I think he would do great there. I think this whole interior defensive line is going to be our strong point next year, and I think they're going to make a name for themselves in 2020. So that's all I got for you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Which position do you think is going to be the strongest for the New York Giants in 2020? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you guys follow FTFN on Twitch. I'm Kid Blue, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Woo!